Working Class Beer Reviews is looking at Sweetwater 420 Imperial IPA. I have never had this beer. I was given this by a friend Jordan that you see in some earlier beer reviews of mine from Joplin. This beer is from Atlanta, Georgia, so that's where Sweetwater is from. Before I get into it, obviously I need to do my thing and pierce it. Got my tulip glass here. Let's give it a nice aggressive pour. Oh, 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 oh. Let it crown, let it crown, let it crown. There you go. Yes. Okay. So when I initially Googled this beer, I know that Sweetwater has their own website, but the first thing that popped up on Google is, turn this where you can see it, Beer Advocate. I don't often refer to Beer Advocate unless I just don't have a better reference, but they have a high regard for this beer. It's 87 out of 100. That's pretty good for Beer Advocate if you know anything about their rating system. So it says a fresh take on ingredients from the original 420. This bold, flavor-packed new brother features a fresh combo of hops from added intensity and complexity, creating flavors and aromas of mango, peach, pineapple, citrus, and pine. So a lot of fruity hops, it sounds like. So this results in a well-balanced Imperial IPA that's super tasty, higher ABV brew, so 60 IBU, and it's 9.1. Yeah, on the can it says 9.1%. IBUs is 60. The can itself says a craft classic deserves Imperial treatment. A fresh take on ingredients from the original 420. This bold flavor packed. Okay, same thing. All right. So they just read the can on Beer Advocate. Can condition for fresher taste. And 06 of 1623. All right, so this is about a year old then. But the thing is, I'm not too terribly bothered by that, with it being a 9.1% and 60 IBUs. It's got staying power. That's just kind of how these Imperial ones, I'm not saying you need to cellar them for a long period of time, but if they're a year out, it's not that big of a deal. So I'm going to go ahead and top this off. This definitely looks like many other Imperial IPAs that I've had and reviewed in the past, such as Voodoo Ranger and the Beer Hug from Goose Island. Boulevard has their Cosmic IPA. What is that called? Cosmic something. So yeah, a lot of these companies are taking a version of their IPA line and then branching it out into others. So this is kind of what this brew is doing too. So Sweetwater I cannot find in my area. The 420 strain something or another that I did review on that I got in Washington, Missouri, I bought that because the can was cheap. It was good. I'm not saying there was anything wrong with it, but it's not available in my area. So my friend Jordan that lives in Joplin, he lives along I-44, major interstate, so distribution could be different. Availability is definitely different than what I get. You know, the can kind of reminds me of that Bosun double IPA from Trader Joe's, which I've come across from friends. I don't have I have to go to Kansas City, Missouri, or Kansas City, Kansas, one of the two, to go to Trader Joe's. That's the closest one to me. But I've seen it, and I have tried the Bosun double IPA. They had it on sale at one point in time. It's like super cheap. And this label and this can reminds me of that, the coloring and everything like that. Never mind the nonsense. If you see some pups playing around behind me, they're just doing their thing. It's the end of the day, and I'm letting them get out and So to speak. So what do we get? It is hazy copper with a, I don't want to say a khaki colored head, eggshell, yeah, eggshell colored head with tight bubbles that are not receding, so they're holding strong. So despite this being a year old, it's still holding its value, which that's a sign of a good brew. I definitely put that in the plus category. So let's give it a smell. So you get some maltiness. The hoppiness, okay, you get a little sweet, like sweet pine. I'm not getting all the fruits and stuff, all those tropical fruits, I'm not getting that in the nose. But because it's being a year old, that may have changed. So, as I've said in many of my videos, the purpose of IPAs to begin with was to sustain travel from England to India. So down south of Africa and up and around by sailboat, back in the day, that would have taken quite a long time. So they needed all those extra hops as a preservative to keep the beer from spoiling or going bad or going flat, whatever the case may be. So a year with this, with modern brewing technology, it could probably go actually 2 years, without starting to degrade. Excuse me, too much. If anything, the bitterness from the hops will go down because it kind of just absorbs into the beer, but it doesn't turn on you. So yeah, I'm not getting a whole lot of hoppiness. I'm getting more of the maltiness from it. So job well done for the process. That's exactly what it was designed to be, even though that's not how modern day consumers consume it. So let's give it a taste. Wow. Yeah. Because of the age, it's turned into a malt bomb, but not in a bad way. Like, think of it like a Belgian triple. It's kind of what it tastes like. It's got a caramel, toffee-ish type sweetness to it, and not cloying sweetness, not like sugary, like gag you, nothing like that. No, it's definitely a malty ale, strong ale sweetness. If I was to have had this fresh, it would probably taste, if I buy the stats, it would be like Voodoo Ranger Imperial IPA. They have a 9% and about the same IBUs. And Beer Hug has something very close to it as well. So you would get that kind of like the hoppiness from that immediately. So you don't get hoppiness immediately. So it's actually served its purpose. Man, think of the day when you would have had to wait for beer to trek along halfway across the globe to you, and you taste it, and the hoppiness has subsided, but it's like this malty sweetness, a heavy body. This is so good, so good, so malty. And so if anybody from Sweetwater is watching this and they're like, oh man, that's not what we wanted, maybe not initially, but your process accomplished the goal beyond that and still maintained a good product. Because what if it was to age and then it was to degrade and just taste like gross or overly sweet, something like that? No, this tastes actually pretty balanced. So that's kind of cool. It's kind of hazy. Pretty hazy actually. I've got this like tulip glass. Yeah, it's pretty hazy. And aging will do that too. Wake that up a little bit. Look at that carbonation kind of come back out of it. So yeah, honestly, that almost makes me like it better that it can handle the time. Because there was a time when IPAs were like, oh, well, you need to drink this within the first 90 days of brewing or else don't even bother. I'm like, well, I guess if the hoppiness is all you cared about. But this was made very well, and it held its ground, you know, beyond that. So it's still like a strong pale ale is what it tastes like. You dogs. Oh, you dogs. Anyway, hope you don't mind the audience and my kids in the background here. But yeah, it's definitely held its ground. It's got great body, great flavor, and aroma. So I would, if I came across this again, I would totally try this. And honestly, I think that's why I like the Imperial IPAs, is because I know that they'll hold their ground no matter, you know, not no matter, but if they have to stay longer. Regular IPAs won't do that. Regular pale ales won't do that. They have a time frame that you need to capture them in. But this, it's pretty awesome. So yeah, I don't rate, but it's gonna definitely top tier of Imperial IPAs. Definitely goes up there with the Voodoo Ranger and the Beer Hug and the Cosmic IPAs of Boulevard. And I'm sure there's other companies that I'm leaving out that are doing a very similar thing. Very highly rated. And I really enjoy this. If you've ever had this beer, and thank you again, Jordan, for letting me raid your beer fridge. I've got a couple others. Yeah, I've got at least 2 others in my fridge that out of that raid that I need to do videos on. So anyway, let me know what you think of Sweetwater Brewing. If you've had this particular beer, if you haven't, just anything you can contribute in the comments. I love to see the dialogue, and I'm willing to go back and forth with y'all. But anyway, thank you guys for watching this, and I will see you guys later.